Okay, so today we're making banana cream pie from scratch. So first, the crust. In my bowl, I have some vegetable shortening. To that, I'm going to add 2 cups of flour, like so. Then I'm going to add some salt, about a teaspoon. And then I'm just going to use a fork and start cutting it in. Since I don't have a pastry cutter of any kind, fork works just as well. Now you want to get this to the consistency of oatmeal, which could take a few minutes, but hey, if you're making this pie, well, you really have nothing else to do on a day like today. Okay, so as you can see, we've got, it looks like coarse oatmeal. And now we're going to add the liquid to bind it all together. Now, the recipe I'm using does call for anywhere between 5 to 7 tablespoons of cold water. I'm doing mine a little bit differently, as I learned, because if you want a real flaky crust, don't use all water. What I have done is I have put into a little bowl 3.5 tablespoons of water and 3.5 tablespoons of vodka. The vodka will help wet the flour to bind it all together and create a really flaky crust. As the crust goes into the oven and cooks, the alcohol will burn off, thus leaving behind a very flaky crust. So what we're going to do is we're going to start adding some of it slowly and start mixing it together. Just like so. Okay, so you can see now I have it on my countertop. Grab a rolling pin. And actually I'm going to grab the pie plate too. And get that ready. And we're going to start rolling this out. Let me move this a bit. You don't want to work it too much. Now it's okay if it tears, because that can be fixed afterwards. Oopsie daisy. Just remember, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's still going to taste good afterwards. So, fold it over, like so. Grab your pie plate. And then unfold. And then, of course, reposition, because I couldn't get it on the first shot. Now, I'm going to take the rolling pin and do that. Just like so. You ready? Now this is where you fix any of your cracks. Make sure it's in all corners. I like to push up on the sides of the crust because this is where it'll shrink the most. And then grab the same fork you used earlier and dock it all the way around. And yes, I even do the sides. Okay. 350-degree oven, 10-15 minutes, or until the crust is golden brown. Okay, so while we're waiting for the pie shell to cook, I have here 3 bananas, and we are just going to slice them up, like so. Don't have to be too thick, too thin, doesn't matter. And while this is going, I have already put into a small pot some flour, sugar, and salt. Because now we're going to make the custard portion, pudding portion, whatever you want to call it, for the pie. So now that this is done, set this off to the side. You also want to separate 3 eggs. We need 3 egg yolks for this recipe as well. Okay, the pie crust is done to my liking, so I'm just going to grab my oven mitts. I'm going to take it out, put it right here on the cooling rack, and let it cool down while we go to the stove and work on the custard part of our banana cream pie. Okay, so as I said, while the pie shell is cooling down, in a small pot I have flour, sugar, a little bit of salt. I'm going to turn it on medium heat and slowly start adding about 2 cups of milk. We're going to mix this, get it incorporated. You want to make sure everything is incorporated and dissolved. And you want to get this bubbling. Keep stirring and stirring and adding milk. You're going to let it bubble, and then you're going to let it cook for 2 to 3 minutes to cook off the flour taste. So we're still cooking here. It's not bubbling yet, but I can already feel it starting to get thicker. Just keep constantly stirring. Okay, we're at that point. You see it's bubbling. It's thickened up really good. We're going to remove this from the heat. Now what we are going to do, let me maneuver the camera a bit. You see right there in that bowl, I have the egg yolks. We are going to take a bit of this and stir it a bit, let it cool down a bit. We're going to take a little bit of this and stir it into the egg yolks. This is tempering the eggs, because the last thing you want to do is add the eggs to the cold or to the warm custard and then end up with scrambled eggs. Take a little bit more as I'm stirring. Stirring, keep stirring, keep the eggs moving, because you don't want to end up with scrambled eggs. And I'm going to add a little bit more from the pot. Then what we're going to do is take the egg mixture, as you can see right there. We're going to add this. Put that down there. I'm going to grab a spatula, get it all out, and add it into the custard mixture. And then stir. And then put it back onto the heat. And cook this for a couple more minutes on the heat. I'm actually going to lower the heat a bit. You can see it's nice and thick now. Now we're going to turn off the heat. I'm just going to put this onto the side here. And to this, we are now going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter in, like so. My butter has already been softened. And some vanilla. I'm just using the last little bit in my bottle and stir that together. Now that's done, we're going to let this cool down for a bit. I haven't turned off the oven. The oven is still sitting at 350 degrees. And we're going to go back over to the pie shell. So now what we're going to do, I'm actually going to take some of these bananas, put them in the bottom of the pie shell. so. And we're going to take the custard mixture and pour like so. Spread this out. Now what I'm going to do, take some more bananas, push them down into the custard. There's no rhyme or reason. Put as little as you want. And yes, I am slightly covering the bananas I just put on top with some of the custard. Now, back into the oven, 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. Okay, so 15 minutes later, I'm going to take the pie out of the oven. And there we go. Let it cool completely. I will not be putting on any whipped cream topping. I know most banana cream pies do have whipped cream topping on it. But what I'd like to do is, after it's sliced, I'll usually have whipped cream there, and if the person wants to put whipped cream on top of the pie, excuse me, they can. I also have some leftover slices of banana. Once this is cooled down completely, I will just put right on top of the pie to make it basically banana overload. So that's it. Hope you enjoy. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next video.